Yeah. So guys, thank you very much for being here. We massively appreciate it. Obviously we're here for the main man, Stuart himself, for his book launch. So yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Stuart's just going to do an introduction as to how he came about writing the book, pass it on to Peter, and then Richard will go on and say thanks. So thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, but anyway. Yes, great to see those who have managed to get parked and for coming today. Thank you very much indeed. I don't intend to make a long speech, so I'll rattle on page one. The three people who have made this happen are here today, and they were people that I would like to thank. First of all, Peter McCabe here on my right. It was his idea. I said nobody would want to read a book that I would write except maybe my family. Peter, I told Peter.
They weren't sure about
I told Peter a couple of stories, and he suggested we have a chat and blah blah. One thing led on to another, and it was good self who suggested that we make the book for Cancer Focus, and that's what we've done. All the proceeds from the sales, apart from the cost of printing, will all go to the charity, and that is all thanks to Peter, who badgered me, rang me, gave me a hard time to keep me going, because I'm a shocking procrastinator, and we could be doing this in 5 years' time if I'm still around, if it hadn't been for Peter pushing me forward.
The pleasure was all his.
We then move on to Clive Scular, who did the proofing. Now, proofing a book is not easy, I would imagine. I got tired of proofing it, and I wrote the blessed thing. But the patience to look for, punctuation not right, and all that is fantastic. A lot of work involved, and one of the things that I wanted to, in my writing of it, I use a lot of Ulster Scots. I love slang and silly expressions, and I know Peter had to ask Clive, would he mind not putting the King's English, which I can speak, but I don't normally do so, and he managed to keep that in there, and thank you for that, Clive. One of the things right at the very start, I talk about one of my ancestors who was captured at the Battle of Hamilton Hill in 1402 and was hung, drawn and quartered. And this is in my introduction. And I do then go on to say that luckily he had left one or possibly two sons, otherwise this wee book would never have been writ. Now, I see Clive even wincing at the thought of writ, but thank you, Clive, for all that hard work, and that is a lot of work. And the third person is obviously Thomas Johnson here, who did the amazing job of formatting it, bringing the photographs and deciding where they were all going to be in relation to the text. And I don't know how he gets the patience, because not only was Peter making suggestions, Clive I think was making suggestions, I was, and if it had been me, I would have been in Australia long ago, or lost the will to live. Again, thank you very much indeed, Thomas, for your efforts. Basically, and sorry, I have to say, and I'm going to say it again, I've already said it to Clive, this is my first book, and one of the mistakes that I made was I didn't include a page of acknowledgements. I hope I have done that now. But you learn from your first one, it'll be right in the second one. Look of horror on these guys' faces. Anyway, that's me for now. Is that right? Is that the plan?
You stay there.
Right, okay. Okay, I only do as I'm told. I have a wife and 3 daughters, and I'm a man who stands on my own 2 knees. I do exactly what I'm told at all times.
So yes, thanks very much, guys, for coming along today, and thanks to Stuart for all the stuff that he did. We didn't fall out. We came close a few times.
Days young.
But I suppose in the introduction I say, it says, I can remember exactly where I was when I first clocked Stewart Barbour. It was Monday, 4th May 2015. I was watching my brother participate in the Belfast City Marathon relay race at the bottom of the Mill Road, Newton Abbey. I saw this header running the marathon with a rucksack and camping gear. I took his photo, but today so I took your photo. And here we are in this book. So I'm standing beside this header, and I'm sad to say that my first suspicions were actually true. He is a header. But so I suppose I came up with the concept of this. Stuart and I met not far from here for a coffee. I think I paid, so you still owe me for that. And no, Stuart paid, sorry, as usual. And then so Stuart kept on checking his phone, and I thought that's a bit rude. But then he said that there's a cricket match on. He's a big cricket fan.
It was the Ashes Test, right?
The
Go on.
Ashes
It wasn't
Test,
just a
yes.
cricket match, but go on.
So yes, it was an Ashes Test. Okay, then. So he kept on checking his phone. I thought, well, this guy's rude. But then he explained that it was because the Ashes were on. And then I thought, well, because he's a cricket fan then, and because he had recently celebrated his 75th birthday, then I thought, well, why not use the cricket term AAS Barbour, which is why the book's called AAS Barbour. What is it? Arthur Alexander Stewart Barbour. And then 70 not out, which is a cricket term again. So 70 quirky, zany stories, which I hope you'll all enjoy. I'm personally sick of the sight of them. But
Me too. And these two gentlemen as well.
So what I'll do is I'll rattle through. We've got 10 photographs here from, and thanks to Stuart for the fantastic photographs. They're great. So I'll rattle through 10 photographs, and then Stuart, you can say 10 seconds on each, and then
Well, I never like to use 2 words if I can use 2,000, but I'll do my best.
But yes, well, I can, if with Alison's permission, if I can cut you off in your prime. So that's the first one. Talk us through that one, Stuart, please.
Okay, well, basically, we start. Could I stand over there? I can see them. Basically, obviously, I didn't really want to get into anything too personal, but Peter said it would make a much better story if we personalise it to some extent. So basically, we go right back to my birth announcement or whatever, and my father was second minister of Craig Church. My grandfather started the congregation in 1903, and I think there was great family hope that I would be the third minister. But I was actually, there was red pen put through my name when I was 3 years old, and the book will actually explain why. Now, quite a lot of you will probably think, gosh, I wonder why they waited so long. So that's what that's about. It's just a quick introduction.
Okay, next one then
what.
is, talk to me about 2 people in this, just.
Right, well, there's only 2 people. There's myself, as the only boy. You haven't said which one was me. I hope that was obvious. And my future wife, who is sitting back there. We've really known each other since childhood, although there was a gap of 20-something odd years. And in the story, it says how we actually met up again, and we've just had our 40th wedding anniversary. So, round of applause. No, so anyway, this was really just. No, I'm only joking. Very joking.
So this one.
Well, basically, I call this in the book. I call this my life's work. My parents bought a little farm at Loch Esk, which I'm sure a lot of you are now familiar with. And on the farm, they were going to actually build a house overlooking the lake, etc. But this little house was there. It was obviously pre-famine. Not sure how old, 300 odd years old. But Ireland's full of pre-famine houses, and they're 4 walls, because the thatch goes, you're left with 4 walls, not a house. The people who lived in this house, the daughters went off to America and done good, as they say, and put a slate roof on it. So whenever you've got a roof, you've got a house. It had been used for sheepfold for 20 odd years. Inside was time warp. It's got the crook. It's got all the things were left there. Nowadays, architectural salvage, you wouldn't last for 2 minutes. People would be nicking them. But anyway, I've been working that as my life work. It was bought in 1966, and I'm still working at it. My wife sleeps with the plumber, the tiler, the electrician. They think typical minister's daughter.
Talk us through this one then, Stuart.
Well, this is when
you're in trouble when you get home, by the way.
I'm always in trouble. When I was at Queen's, I had plenty of time and no money, but because of Loch Esk and the Circuit of Ireland used to go around the lake in the 60s, it got me interested in rallying, and I spent my meagre pennies rallying on a shoestring. And there's a couple of stories in there from how I tried to kill myself and almost succeeded, and how somebody else tried to kill me and almost succeeded. But this was when I was a wee bit of a whoopsie. We'll leave it at that.
Very frank, Spencer. This one, poorly positioned.
Basically that's a strange looking photograph, I know. But in 1980, I went off with a pal of mine. We had a round world ticket, etc. We went to South America, and we were out on Lake Titicaca in Peru, the Bolivia, border of Peru and Bolivia, and this was a well, Inca well, and we were obviously watching what we ate, we were watching everything, being very careful, got out to this island, and it was this supposedly artesian well, and I stupidly, checking was it artesian, where the water comes from the Andes in onto the lake and back up as a spring, it's pure water, Lake Titicaca is very slightly salty. What did I do? I think I'll check this out. So I drank some of this, ended up with amoebic dysentery, and haven't been able to cope with curries or any of those things ever since, and that's 43 years ago. That's what that's about.
You spent an entire, is it 8-hour coach journey in the toilet?
Well, I was going to just leave that for now. Yes.
That's a yes.
It was actually more than 8 hours, it was 24, but anyway, moving on.
It says in about 24 hours in the toilet until somebody tried to batter the door down, and then if somebody tried to batter the door down, Stewart would go out and then come back in again. So, fun times. This one,
Too much information. Anyway, basically this was my business, which actually I got into by pure chance. I actually have a master's degree in agriculture. I ended up doing a job I hated. I jacked it in and went off around the world, as I've just said. Then I, per chance, got into a conservative business. This was just after I'd opened, there's nothing on the wall, whatever, and the hair is still grey, still coloured. It was grey within about a week or two. It's been grey ever since. I was very fortunate. Blue today. I was very fortunate, right place, right time, by pure chance. And sometimes I often thought wrong place, wrong time. But anyway, it was very good to me over the years. I worked 6 days a week and worried myself to death. On the 7th, I got out of it by good fortune. Somebody wanted in, I wanted out, and I think if I'd still continued, I wouldn't be standing here.
And what's the connection with James Bond?
Oh, well, that was a lady who rang up wanting to see about a conservatory. I went out to her house, looked at the site or whatever, and I said, could we access the house from the garage? Come on in, she said, have a look. Excuse my garage, my husband is not long departed. The garage is full of all sorts of rubbish. Went in there, sitting at the back was a car covered in dust, boxes sitting on the top of it, garden implements leaning up against it. It was an Aston Martin DB5. They won that, the James Bond one, the original James Bond one, worth a fortune. And I said to her, that is a very valuable car, to which I think her reply was, oh really? I said, get it valued, etc. And in fact, I think it was John, who's here tonight, or this afternoon, who actually saw in the paper a few months later, this lady who lived in the area that I saw the car had been very pleased to have sold it at some auction in England and made a fortune. They're now worth about £1 million. I was very tempted to offer a tenner, but I didn't. But the story's in there, and I actually titled it, I Never Got a Thank You phone call. I wonder why. Well, this was going to, when I was the girls were at Strumillis Primary School, Ginny and Paul Rankin's kids were also at Strumillis at the same time, and as a fundraiser, they very kindly said they would do a ready, steady cook. And I was obviously here partnered with Ginny, and one of the other girls from the PTA was with Paul. Now, the reason it's in the book is I have a few little pranks and stories that actually backfired big time, and this was one of them, because people had come wanting to see these folk, make all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and I turned up with my little bag, as you're supposed to do, of your ingredients, and I had in there, for fun, I thought, a tin of Heinz tomato soup, a Goodfellas pizza, and a block of Walt's ice cream, and it tanked. I think that's why that one's there. Okay. Various other pranks that didn't quite go right, but that was certainly one of them. Now, basically, in 1974, I had climbed Kilimanjaro when I was in Africa. There's African stories in there. And the guy I travelled or climbed with said, would you ever do it again? And I said, not on your life, because I was 21, it nearly killed me. Anyway, he kept saying, we'll do it again, do it again. But my daughters and his daughters had both done the Duke of Edinburgh and the President's Award in the South, and we thought we'd maybe, all have a go. And their two wives were going to go to Zanzibar. Anyway, as it turned out, we had booked for 5 because his good daughters couldn't go, etc. And then at the last minute, they couldn't come due to family illness. So I said to Alison, you can go to Zanzibar on your own, you can sit at the bottom and wait for us, or you can come with us. All 5 of us got to the top of Kilimanjaro. Having done that at 54, I found it so much easier than 21. I went to a presentation where they said, at the end of it, I asked how was it easier. I was climbing, somewhere nearing the presentation, and I said, how come it was easier at 54 than 21? Life's experience, known as gung-ho stuff. I then thought, that's 6,000 metres, I wonder could I do 7? So I went to Aconcagua, which is in the Andes, highest mountain in the Andes. It's 7,000 thereabouts. Again, amazingly, it was okay. I thought, wonder could I do 8,000 metres? I couldn't afford Everest, so I went to Choyu, which is the world's 6th highest mountain in the Himalayas. And here I am sitting, you can see my face is starting to go black, the pupils were all dilated. I was totally out of it, and I think Peter thinks I'm still out of it, but
I would account for a lot this trip.
There's at that attitude, you're slowly dying, your brain cells are just dying because you can't breathe enough, etc. Then I was caught in a storm on the way down, and they actually thought I had gone in an avalanche. And I heard over the radio, which I turned on after a while, and I heard about this lovely, what's a nice fella and whatever. Oh dear, what's happened here? Who's going to tell his wife? Oh, I don't, Mrs. Turner. And I got, the heck's they talking about? Discovered they were talking about me. Up to that point, I had been, dare I say it, the Irish joke, and happy to be so, and played along. So never trust a eulogy, is my point. Everybody's great when you pop your gloves. Now, obviously, why is the hair, not blue today for obvious reasons, but why is the hair long and why do I look wild? I do quite a lot of extra work, as does my good friend Eamon, who's here, filming work and extra work. And if you've got hair, they can do things with it. They can curl it, they can tie it back, they can do also. If you're slightly you're off the hook. You're off the hook, Richard. This guy's not. They can do things with it. I have done short back and sides in Second World War stuff, but if you've got hair, they can do, and that's why I do it. And this was with Jimmy Nesbitt in The Secret, which was the one about Colin Howell and the murders, etc. And I'm the guy in the chair with awful teeth, as I say, they did a close-up and whatever, it's all bridges and crowns and Deus knows what. But this is one of the extra stories that I've in there. Being a bit cautious about what we can say and what we can't say.
You've done 6 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yes, yeah. I wasn't going to mention that for your sitting here and that.
Yeah.
It's great crack. This is a game show that I actually, my daughter Helen was going to, said, Dad, you should do that, it'd be great fun. It was one of these sort of Ninja Turtle type, not Ninja Turtle, Ninja Warrior type, why did I say turtle? Warrior type things, very physical, and I thought, I'll go along for the crack and see what's what. Now, most of the people that were going were obviously in their 20s and 30s. This was a testing of the equipment. I went along to the place where it was being filmed, and I thought at the last minute, I'll go in, I'll take a stick with me. So I went in, and the bottom line to it was, and I've told a bit of the story, they thought this was hilarious. Only after they found out the girl came down, up to that point, the bigwigs of the BBC were saying, oh my goodness, disabilities, ageism, what are we going to do with this old guy? But anyway, that was all good fact, but then, as I say, it all went well, and because I suppose I had entertained them, which is all about, they asked me back to go to the actual test to see if we're fit enough to actually, select who it was going to be. So I went along to that, and I thought, this time. So I went in on two crutches, and it was filmed with Zoe Ball, who I talk about in the book, and Ashley Banjo was the other guy who interviewed us. And one thing, as I say, I will say, if I'm not telling these people too much, they won't buy the book, will they? One of the things they said to me as they interviewed me at the end, there was no rehearsing, it was all straight go. And as I had gone through this thing, at the end of the course, they stuck a microphone in front of me and said, talked a wee bit, and then I said, I applied for this show 40 years ago, and it's the last time I'm going to use a second-class stamp.
And then the last one then is
Well, Sydney Marathon. I actually never went, but I thought I may as well train a wee bit, and I think that's why that one's there. Why do I carry the rucksack? Obviously because of the mountaineering. It's a perfect platform for putting stuff. It does make an old man stand out a wee bit from the crowd. Other than that, I'm just sort of an old man trundling around the streets. And and that's why I've got rope on it, etc. I carry these two guys. Friends, what friends?
former friends.
Yeah, former friends. You know, they're all sick to death of me when they see me in the supermarket, and they're all down behind the bins, you know. But when I'm out training, which I've got to do, with my rucksack, it's amazing. I'm not actually collecting, but people see me, stop me, ask me why I'm doing it, and I always coming up in 27,000 from mostly running about with the rucksack.
Like in Egypt.
Yeah, and chatting to folk, and that is a great life-affirming experience because people tell me why they're donating, and I can give them a wee bit of, you know, I understand where you come from and all that sort of stuff, and do a wee bit of plug for Cancer Focus. When I run around the town or well endowed charity, people toot and wave, etc. But and they do tend to see me, but because I'm not actually standing rattling a box, a lot of people think, you know, are you collecting? And I always say to them, well, I'm not doing this for fun. But they are very generous, and that's what this is about. Thank you very much indeed.
So I didn't know you were. You could have been a Presbyterian minister.
No,
You
it's in the
could.
genes, but that's it.
You could have been precisely what the Presbyterian Church needed to shake it up here. No, thank you for those stories and anecdotes. So, like Stewart Barbour, what can you say? I've had the pleasure of being able to read bits of this book. I just got it a couple of days ago. Life to the full, Stewart Barbour style, I think. And certainly the bits that I sort of picked through and read that are of interest, the mountaineering adventures in the Himalayas, and that low oxygen environment might explain something. But it's just remarkable to see the stories, the adventures, probably the scrapes, crafted and carefully put together with Peter and the team. So a big thank you to them. And I was thinking, as I was sort of reading the initial bits that sort of drew me in, you know, I'm having got to know Stewart. I've been here at Cancer Focus now for the last 3 years. And actually, as I was joining, you talk about the people who approach you in the streets of Belfast. When I was joining the organisation, I was learning about Cancer Focus. A couple of people said to me, "Yes, there's a guy who runs around." So what you've done for us in terms of taking our message out onto the streets, so we're very grateful for. But certainly, as I was thinking about some of the words, and having got to know Stewart a little bit over the last 2 or 3 years, you know, there's words like energy that come to mind, you know, and you just look at that fairly constant state of energy to go from one sort of creative thought to the next. And I've always wondered what those kitchen table conversations were like whenever an idea was just being brewed in terms of Alison and the girls and I have an idea. I'm sure those would have been interesting fly on the wall conversations. But lots of energy, fun. You know, anyone who knows Stewart and we as a Cancer Focus family, you know, and I think that will come through as you read the book. Stuart's sense of fun and zest for life comes through. The word mad came to mind as well, in terms of getting into situations that most of us probably wouldn't. I think there's a chapter in the book entitled something like, if there's something extraordinary to do, your advice is that you should do it. And that's probably quite good advice for all of us. And that leads on, I think, to being inspired. I found Stewart to be a very inspirational character. and to read about some of the things that you have done and achieved in your life with the support of Alison, which I'm sure has been constant, and the girls is pretty remarkable. And for us as a charity in Northern Ireland trying to serve people who are on a cancer journey or affected by cancer, like, we can only do it through the generosity and support of people like Stewart. And Stewart, I think, has become part of the Cancer Focus family and story, and is warmly regarded by all of our staff and our team here. But one of the things that, as I looked through the book, I thought of as well, that probably sums Stewart up, is a deep sense of kindness and generosity of spirit, you know, as well, and a sense that community and family are really, really important to Stewart, and that sense has carried across into our organisation because of what you've done for us, raising a lot of money over the years, which is important for us to sustain our services, but also the sacrifice that you've made to do that. We don't consider that or take that lightly, in terms of the time and the effort that you've given to everything you've done. Nothing short of monumental from our perspective. So we're delighted, you know, that you've decided very kindly to do this project. It's a great project. We can learn a little bit more about you, and actually at the same time you're helping us to help many other people. So from the bottom of our hearts and as an organisation, thank you, Stewart, for choosing to do that. We really appreciate it. This will be a fantastic read, so certainly we will be publicising and communicating this and pushing this out to as many people as we can to come, and I have my copy and I'm purchasing my copy. So thank you for that, and we'll be encouraging others to do the same. So thank you all for coming along today to hear a little bit of a snapshot, a glimpse of this. We do have copies here, so you can purchase a copy today. We'll be continuing to sorry, £15. So money very, very well spent to be entertained and to be inspired by Mr. Stewart Barbour. So from a cancer focus point of view, Stewart and Alison, and it's lovely to see you here today. And a big thank you from all of us. So thank you. So we've had all of our official photographs and everything done. Stewart will be happy, I'm sure, to be here and to be sign a copy for you. And we have
There's still 15 if they're signed.
So there's no premium one.
Premium not
Or discount. So we do have tea and coffee at the back as well. So please, you know, feel free to mingle, have a cup of tea, coffee, little bun, and speak to Stewart. But again, thank you, Stewart. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you for your kind words, Richard. That's, well, very kind of you. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Did the chemo turn your hair purple? Or was it a wig?
So, Cyril McCoy, nice to see you. How are you? Right, so I'm going to get writer's cramp, am I?
Sign mine first of all, Stewart.